Well, I tell you what, when the Clemson Tigers finally saw the light go off, my goodness, they're playing some inspired football right now. And after much of a season where they've been maligned, and rightly so, the Clemson Tigers and head coach Dabo Swinney have finally found the magic potion that has seemed to be working. And for the second straight week, Clemson demolishes an opponent in Death Valley. Welcome to Around the Paw. I'm Garrett Mitchell, as always, joined by Griffin Barfield and Clifton Kennedy. And we're going to talk about the Tigers' latest dominant win over the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets, how that was fueled by one of the best-looking freshman classes in recent memory for Clemson, and a lot of other goodies we're going to get to later in the show. But, gentlemen, I tell you what, I know that was about as into a game as I have been all year. I watched it from start to finish on Saturday. And I'm sitting here in my little man cave and just yelling and screaming and going crazy at the TV because that was really, really fun to watch.
Yeah, I'll take the complete opposite standpoint. I didn't really watch much of the game. I was home with the family because my brother had a huge state championship game. But I did watch the highlights, and boy, it was just, I don't think there's anything bad that you could take away from the game on Clemson's standpoint. I mean, I think it was a game that I regret missing, obviously, but family calls. But I think, yeah, there's a lot to be happy about, especially on the younger side, and how they played as well. But I think that Clemson, especially going into these next two games and even a bowl game, I think that this is the highest morale that the team and the fans have been in all season.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Just seeing the defense just get at it and really put the pressure on Georgia Tech's quarterback like that, and really after the first couple runs that they had, we really kind of shut their run game down too. And I mean, at the end of the day, Haynes King only had, I think it was like 1 yard passing, if I'm correct.
Well, it was a little bit more than that. Once the backups came in the fourth quarter,
yeah,
it was through three quarters, and this is just going off memory. I don't have the stats in front of me. It was less than 30 yards through three quarters.
Yeah,
I want to say somewhere around
right.
27, 28 yards.
Yeah.
So just a dominant effort defensively. And we've talked all year long about how improved the Clemson secondary is. Well, they had 4 interceptions on Saturday. One of them was returned for a touchdown. And the crazy thing is, all 4 interceptions were by 4 different true freshmen. How often do you see that?
Yeah.
Because I would be willing to take a check to the bank that says not very often.
Not at all. And I think it's funny because we were talking about it, right before Notre Dame, that turnover is going to be the key to this Clemson defense. Cliff, I know you've said it, you've been manifesting it, and it's been working. And especially on the defensive side, when you are losing plenty of guys who have tons of experience, you're losing guys like Nate Wiggins, Jeremiah Trotter to the draft, even though they do have years left. You have so much promising talent, especially in that secondary, that I know maybe a little bit a couple weeks ago, maybe it wasn't really as promising, but boy, I mean, so much talent, and I am really excited to see what these guys do over the next few years here.
Yeah, me too. I mean, just seeing them out there getting at it, and on the offensive side too, you got Tyler Brown. I mean, everybody knows about Tyler Brown, and then he makes that amazing catch.
Oh my God!
It should have been a top 5. Yeah, it should have been a top 5, but it wasn't. You just have, and then you got the receivers coming in. Yeah, I know, man, but it's always good to get spotlighted on, top 5 or top 10. Yeah, I mean, you got freshmen everywhere: offense, defense, special teams. One unsung hero that over the past 2 weeks that I really am excited about for what he's done is Hamp
I want
Green.
to see if you're going to say who I think you are.
Yeah, Hamp Green. And he's really come along at that punt return, and I'm excited about that.
Well,
I think another guy real fast. Josh Sapp, freshman. And he caught a touchdown. He's caught a touchdown against Charleston Southern.
I was about to say, didn't he catch 2? I thought he caught 2 touchdowns.
Maybe
he has 2 touchdowns.
He has 2
weeks or something like that.
He has 2 on the season.
Yeah, maybe that's what it was.
He caught one from Cade on Saturday.
That's what it was.
He's gonna have a bigger role, especially in the latter half of these last 3 games, because Sage Ennis tore his ACL. So you got Brinkstool, and then you got Sapp, the tight end of the future potentially. So I mean, I like what I'm seeing about him. The future's bright for the kid. It's just the future's bright for on all cylinders, like you said, Cliff. So it's really nice to know, especially how the season has gone, especially so far.
Yeah, did he tear his ACL in the game or?
Yes,
I believe he did. Yes,
I remember him going out, but I just don't remember exactly when.
Yeah, it was subtle. You saw him kind of hobble off or limp off. It didn't. It wasn't like he was down in a heap on the field, so it didn't just throw up any alarm bells at the time. But unfortunately, it was a worst case scenario for Sage. But Clifton, you mentioned Hamp Green, and you're absolutely right. I've been very impressed with him. And Griffin, you mentioned Sapp as well. I love his athleticism. And so some of these unsung heroes, I'll throw another name at you. Clifton, Hamp's playing on special teams. Then you've got Sapp on offense. Well, how about an unsung hero on defense that to me has really shown a lot the last 2 games? That's DeMonte Capehart on the defensive line. You're finally starting to see that young man break through. And look, with the guys you're losing, he's going to be an integral part of that defensive front next year. So glad to see him get a lot of reps and make some plays.
Especially with the loss of Tyler Davis too, Rook potentially going to the NFL draft. I don't know if has any more eligibility. I think that he might run out, but nevertheless, I mean, you're looking at this front 4 right now, and you got TJ Parker, obviously, who has gotten freshman accolades left, right, and center. Peter Woods, who everyone was really excited about, and he's really performed to what everybody has thought, and he really has untapped potential. Then you got DeMonte Capehart, who is like we've said multiple times on this podcast, it's just an embarrassment of riches, where you have tons of guys who are on the bench that have the potential to be starters for this team. And, Capehart's showing it time and time again. So once again, it's just nice to see that these guys who are going to be having their number called a lot in these next few seasons are performing to kind of make all the fans a little bit more comfortable for the seasons to come, especially on the defensive side where you're losing tons of veterans to either eligibility, graduating, or the draft.
Well, look, Saturday's game, 42-21 final.
It was really 42-7 if you think about it. Those 14 points. Yeah, the 14 points were in trash time. I mean,
that game was nowhere near as close as 42-21 makes it look. And when I say, for anybody that didn't get to see it live, when I say that after about the first 5 minutes of that ball game, it was about as complete and thorough a beat down as you could possibly put on a team. It was the Clemson from 5, 6, 7 years ago that played perpetually pissed off, that played as if the world was against them. That was the Clemson that played on Saturday. You saw it against Notre Dame. You saw it on Saturday. And I don't know if it was Tyler from Spartanburg or Dabo Swinney challenged their manhood or what was said behind closed doors, but something has sparked a fire in this team. Something inside them has woken up, and right now I pity anybody that is trying to line up across from them. We're going to talk about in another episode, we're going to talk and preview the North Carolina game coming up this Saturday, but I tell you what, I kind of feel bad for them too, because right now they're standing on the tracks and a train's coming, and that train is led by a bunch of true freshmen. 10 different freshmen made a tackle on Saturday. That was just on the defensive side of the ball.
Wow. I didn't even know that.
I think what you said is perfect. And I have a friend that supports North Carolina, and he's like, we are coming into Clemson at the wrong time. And I think it's what you said again, just time and time again. These freshmen have incredible talent. The class of 2027 has proved to be legit. I mean, we were talked about it all about them in the spring and the summer and going into fall camp. So it's really nice to see how, these pieces that could truly be, I mean, it's very far to say that they could be true pieces on a national championship type team, but they are an ACC championship type team. I think it's just, at this point, it's just an embarrassment of riches, like I say time and time again. So it's really nice to see.
Yeah. I mean, it really is. Like, there's so many freshmen, and there's going to be that are like producing their first year, or they're a redshirt freshman are producing. I mean, it's just crazy. And then next year, you've got the 2 receivers that are coming in. I don't know. I know they're awesome, but it might take some time for them to. It might take them half the season to get in true form. But I mean, you got those guys coming in, and
Sammy
I mean,
Brown.
it's just going to be great. Yeah, you got Sammy Brown on the defense, and it's going to be great, man. It really is. Like I'm super excited about it.
Right. Now, guys, when we talk about the true freshmen and the impact they made on defense, then you saw on offense, you saw Sapp with the touchdown catch. Tyler Brown, I mean, my goodness, what more can you say about him? I texted a friend of mine on Saturday right after that unbelievable catch. I said, man, Tyler Brown is him. That's one of the best catches I have seen a Clemson receiver make in a very, very long time.
Yeah. Go ahead.
It was probably the best since the Justin Ross reception. I mean, I have my own view. You guys have your own, but it's up there with arguably one of the best catches in Clemson history. But
yeah,
I'm really excited to see what he can do. He's a stud. He's really bringing back the whole wide receiver use standpoint, especially with just the amount of production that he's doing in his first year in college. So it's just once again really nice to see, and I'm excited to see him take the next step in years to come, and especially down the stretch, what he can do to help Clemson win these next 3 games.
Yeah, and Clifton, another thing that I noticed offensively on Saturday, and it's a carryover from the Notre Dame game. Again, you had more or less the same offensive line group, the young guys that came in and played so well against Notre Dame, and they more or less stuck with the zone blocking scheme, and lo and behold, it worked again. 236 yards rushing against Georgia Tech, and you put together another big game on the ground. So what I'm seeing right now is that Cade Klubnik has had 2 games where he hasn't had to shoulder the load. It's taken that pressure off of him. He had a great game on Saturday. 23 of 34 passing, 205 yards, and a season-high 4 touchdowns. Then on top of that, you rush for 236 yards. When the Clemson offense is doing that and you can give Cade time to operate and you can give the backs time to find the hole and go, then this team just hits another gear, and I think that's exactly what we've seen.
Yeah, I mean, Cade's had so much pressure on him to really shoulder the load. He's felt like that the first, 6 games of the season. And he's not built for that yet. And so he needed some other guys to help take the load off. And I think this zone blocking scheme has helped that a lot. And then the running backs just behind him, just running all over him. But so I said this in last episode, and I'll say it again. Like, how much can we do that? And because that zone blocking scheme is not what Riley runs on a normal basis. And so do we just do that for the rest of this year or to win and then regroup next year? Or do we try to get back to that, to finish off the year and see how it goes, if that makes sense?
Are you talking like the way that Clemson blocks with the offensive line?
Yeah, like the pulling guards and stuff like that.
I mean, the best way that I can put it is if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And I think that you're giving the running backs more time. And with that, it allows Cade to be more comfortable in the pocket. And watching the plays that he made, he seems comfortable. And when he's comfortable and he's, having fun like he always advocates, you're getting the best version of Cade Klubnik, and you always are. And it doesn't matter if he put up 200 yards, he did have an interception, but the Georgia Tech defender did make a great play there. He did everything he needed to do to help Clemson win. And that's what we've said. That's what we said last week. Let the run kind of take them with a really bad Georgia rush defense and let Cade do his thing. And that's what he did. He threw 4 touchdowns. He helped Clemson win a 21-point game against a team that was a little bit scary, at least in my eyes. So I think if you're having this much success, keep doing it until, someone stops you and then you go back to the drawing board.
Yeah. Okay. I heard someone bring that up on the radio. Will this zone blocking, hurt recruiting because of him not being able to do the Garrett Riley normal offense, with the pulling guards and stuff like that? Will that hurt recruiting? And I just wanted to throw that out there at you guys.
Yeah, and you know what? Just to touch on it a little bit further, I don't think so, because I think Griffin hit the nail on the head. I think it's one of those things where you found something 3/4 of the way through the season that works. And so you're just kind of riding this wave right now because it works. You're getting results. Just ride that wave out into the end of the season. Look, you've got 3 games left, and that is a finite number. You're going to play North Carolina. You're going to play South Carolina. Then whoever you play in a bowl game, you've got 3 games. Just ride it out to the end, and then when you get back to work in the offseason, go back to work and try to get back to doing what you want to do. And just coach those guys up and find a way to make that work. But right now, it works. I see no reason to go away from it.
Yeah.
I have to agree with that.
All right. Well, I mean, I like winning. I like winning. So
yeah. The fun is in the winning, as Coach Swinney
said. That's right.
So, let's stay having fun right now.
Yeah, for real.
And I'll tell you what, look, you talk about Cade Klubnik and the way he's playing well right now. Well, let me tell you what 4 interceptions and less than 100 yards passing looks like. Georgia Tech quarterback Haynes King, and this is, I don't know that I've ever seen a number this low. He finished with a quarterback rating. I forget what the decimal point was, but it was 7 point something Saturday. I want to say it was 7.1, 7.3, something to that effect, but it was 7 point something. I don't know that I've ever seen a QBR lower than 10. That's really
crazy.
That's really bad, but it's a testament to just how dominant the defense was.
And Haynes King's been playing really well all year. He's helped Georgia Tech win games with his arm and his legs, and it's a credit just to this Clemson defense. They have probably, at least I think, one of the best defenses in the country. They have a top 2 or 3 defense in the ACC for sure. It just comes to show what they can do. And again, I'm excited to see what they do next week because, again, they're playing a very tough offense with an NFL caliber quarterback in Drake May. It's interesting to see what they're going to do, and I'm all for it. I think that, again, this Clemson defense, if Clemson's going to win this Saturday, it's going to come down on their defense and when they can stop them and how many times they could stop them. And they did against Georgia Tech, and look what happened.
Yeah, agree 100%. Well, it was a great win over Georgia Tech, but it's time you celebrate that win, you enjoy it. But now the Tigers are getting ready for a tough North Carolina team, and we'll talk about that a little bit later on in another episode. But we're going to change gears right now. But before we do, got to give a shout-out to our fine sponsor, Ardens Burger Grill at 1280 18 Mile Road, Central South Carolina, home of the famous double-dipped wings. They're our favorites. Go check them out for all of your game day needs. They'll take great care of you, and you can tell them that the crew from Around the Paw sent you there. They've got also have mouthwatering burgers, sizzling grills, and even great Asian food, believe it or not. You can take our word for it, or you can go see for yourself. But go see our friends at Ardens Burger Grill at 1280 18 Mile Road, Central, South Carolina. Now, Griffin, this is we're going to talk about something that's right up your alley here. This is truly your domain. But we've got a Clemson team that is celebrating an ACC championship right now. And
let's go.
It's the men's soccer team. Tell us about this soccer team. Not too far removed from a national championship, and it looks like things just keep right on rolling.
Yeah. You hit that perfectly. This Clemson team has not lost a game since September 22nd. They're one of the hottest teams in the country, and they're probably one of the most fun teams to watch in terms of soccer because they average, I believe it is just under 3 goals a game. I believe the exact number is 2.98 goals per game. It's very exciting, and you got players all
that's crazy.
Yeah, they're really exciting to watch, and I believe they were I should know, they were the 4 seed for the ACC tournament. And then they beat Duke in penalty kick shootouts. They beat Louisville at home at historic Ricks Field. And then they took down a North Carolina team that did not allow more than 1 goal a game. They tied 1-1, but again, this team has just been resilient all year. I've talked with head coach Mike Noonan, and he just says this team is resilient. This team knows what they need to do to win games, and here they are. They're now the number 9 seed in the whole NCAA tournament, and I think they're going to play the winner of High Point and Charlotte. They play on Wednesday, and the game's going to be at home. So, if you're in the area, this team is probably one of the most fun soccer teams I've ever watched. They score goals. They're energetic. They're happy. The fans are always coming out and supporting this team, and I believe they will play Sunday night for their first NCAA
Sunday at
game.
8 p.m. It's Sunday at 8 p.m.
And
I'll be there. I was at that Duke game.
Me too. Yeah, I was at
that Duke game, and that was one of the most exciting soccer games I've ever seen in my life. It was one of the most intense soccer games. And like when Clemson scored that first goal, you were like, all right, we got it. And then Duke comes back and scores another one. And I mean, it just went back and forth. And it was crazy. And then Sunday, Duke or North Carolina goes up early, or I don't remember, but it was in the first half. It was early in the first half. And right after that, like I was telling you on the phone after the game, Clemson didn't let up. Like they just kept pushing and pushing and pushing. And then Usman Silla, if I'm saying his name right,
that's right,
came across the middle, came across the 18-yard box, or right outside the 18-yard box, and just fired that sucker into the top right corner, and it was insane. Like that goal was crazy.
He's just incredibly exciting to watch. He was first team All ACC, and then there were a couple other players to make All ACC second team, All ACC third team, and then our top center back, his name is Popmar Boy. He made the All ACC freshman team. So they're just really a fun team to watch. They're energetic. They like really I've said time and time again. But yeah, certainly if you're in the area, come out and support Clemson soccer. They're just a really good team, great group of guys, and whether if they're a senior or a freshman, there are superstars all over the field for them.
Yeah, I think tickets are like $8. I think tickets are like $8 for adults, and then they get cheaper for kids. Yeah, so it's super affordable.
Yeah, and like you say, go check them out. And I'll throw this in there. And for anybody that may roll their eyes and say, soccer, man, I don't care anything about soccer, man, I'll tell you what, if you don't take anybody else's word for it, take our word for it. A really good soccer match between two good teams gets really, really intense. It's a lot of fun to watch. And look, my high school and my hometown, we have a powerhouse girls soccer program and have been, we've actually won 21 consecutive region championships going all the way back to 2003 and have played for state titles multiple times. Have not won a state championship. That's because there's all the some private schools that recruit their players standing in the way, but that's another argument for another day. But we always claim the public school championship anyway. But I've seen a lot of intense soccer matches over the years with our powerhouse program here, and Clemson's the same way, man. It's a lot of fun when you get into an intense game.
For sure, and another thing is that there's no place like Clemson when it comes to playing a match there, because I believe the NCAA voted historic Riggs Field where Clemson play is one of the top schools to watch a soccer game. They have one of the best attendances in the country in terms of college soccer. And every game I've been to, because I've been in the box, I've been there as a fan, it is always electric, no matter who they play, whether it be, a top 25 team in the country, an ACC opponent, or just a team right down the street of, UFC Upstate or Gardner Webb. Everybody shows out. Everybody loves the team. And for sure, if you've never been to a game, the best time to go is during an NCAA tournament game, because especially they'll get intense.
Well, the best thing is the students bring the drums, they bring the horns, they bring it all, man. And they're just like, cheers, just like you're at a pro game. I mean, it's crazy. Or at a World Cup game. Yeah. It's on a smaller scale, of course, but I mean, they got the drums, they got the beats, they got the cheers. I mean, it's amazing. I love it.
And no doubt about it. So football team's playing great. The soccer team, the men's soccer program is playing at an elite level right now. And, guess what? Basketball season's underway, and that's a good start for the men's basketball team as well.
Yeah, Clemson basketball 3-0, and they've played teams that are, very, very good. And I'll commemorate them. Yesterday, they won the Asheville Championship. They beat Davidson, who are no team to look over. They beat Maryland, who were a tournament team last year. And the game before that, they beat UAB, who made the NIT final the year before, where Clemson fell in the first round. And this team, again, they're a fun team to watch. They have guys, whether it be a senior all the way down to freshmen, who just make especially just some great moves. And you could start with, the heart of it all, PJ Hall. He's going to be an NFL. He's going to be an NFL draft pick come June. And honestly, this team's been contending for an NCAA tournament since I believe it was 2021. And they have all the pieces that they have all the pieces to do it. And plenty of analysts have talked about, them being a sleeper team. And, I believe the hype as well. But again, they're just another fun team to watch. They're a team that will go down to the wire with very good teams. And, don't be surprised if you see Clemson basketball not only get a ranking, especially down the stretch, but potentially be in, the March Madness and talking about them in your pick'em pools come March and April.
Right. And you know what, just to lend credence to the fortitude that this team has against Davidson, I believe it was 23-5 was the score early, down 23-5. And then they just start chipping away little by little. They battle back and they come back and win that game. And Griffin, like you said, Davidson's no pushover. And I can never think about them without thinking about Steph Curry when he played at Davidson and that run to the Elite Eight, probably one of the most remarkable single-handed performances in NCAA tournament history I've ever seen. Of course, we know the rest is history. He's probably the greatest shooter to ever live. But Davidson is no slouch. And that told me a lot about that team to fall behind that big early and to find a way to fight back and win.
Yeah, you said that perfectly, and I think the team has the great enough experience, and obviously they're coached by Brad Brownell, who I believe it is his 12th or his 13th season with Clemson, so he's been in this situation time and time again. But regardless of what you think about him,
time flies when you're having fun, Clifton.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, it's crazy.
This team, they're resilient. They have that Clemson grit where they'll go on a run, whether they be down or not, and they'll pull out a win in whatever way they can. You saw that last year, especially, and there's a great chance that you're going to see it again this year in many different games.
Yeah, it's crazy that Brad Brownell's been here almost as long as Dabo. That is crazy. That's hard to believe.
Since like 2013, I believe. He's been here since the early 2010s too. So
yeah, it's crazy. And this basketball team, man, that Davidson game when they were down 23-5, I was like, oh, they're done. Like they're done. They couldn't hit the broad side of a barn, like for real. Like they were throwing the ball up there, and it would hit the front of the rim and ding off. It would hit the back of the rim and ding off. But then somebody hit a three right before half and kind of lit a fire under these guys, and they just went nuts in the second half. It was crazy.
Yeah, so expect good things from the men's basketball program coming up. Just getting started this season. There's a lot of basketball to be played over the next several months into hopefully well into March. So things going very well. The state of Clemson athletics is quite alive and well right now. The football team rolling merrily along after two dominant wins. Chance at another top 25 win at home coming up Saturday. Men's soccer team getting ready to make a run toward what we hope is another national championship. And the men's basketball team off to an undefeated start through the first several games of the year. So a lot to be excited about right now in Tiger Town. That's going to do it for us on this episode of Around the Paw. Hope you've enjoyed watching, and we'll be right back at you very, very soon. And we're going to break down on our next episode and talk about the game coming up at the Valley on Saturday, Senior Day, against Drake May and the North Carolina Tar Heels. But until then, this is the crew from Around the Paw, Garrett Mitchell, Griffin Barfield, and Clifton Kennedy, as always saying, go Tigers.
Go Tigers.
Go Tigers.